Screen is visible? Paul? Hello?
Yes, it is. Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, great. So the session is basically for the securing software against the malware entry points. So we all are aware about what is a malware, right? I guess. So we just jump on malware entry points and how the malware work and how we prevent it. So the session goal is how we defend from malware. So the understanding the malware entry points, identify common vulnerability and how attackers exploit them in a web and system application, right? So the common malware entry points like email and messages, like phishing email with malicious attachment like Word, PDF, zip, .exe file, and in a mail there are a link that compromise the website or a fake login portal that fetch your details when you just pass your username, password, or your card details, or business email compromises. So these are some basic email and messages phishing or malware entry points. And in a web and browser point of view, there are a drive-by download from compromised or malware website. In multiple websites, you see there is a link or there is a clickable button. When you click on that, there's some script or some file or .exe file will be download automatically. And sometimes it's genuinely, but sometimes it will be a malicious file or malicious software. And multiple times in your web or your phone, you see that malicious ads or malware advertising executed hidden in your phone, right? You can check that multiple times that you not install any app XYZ, but in some time you see that XYZ app is prompting your app mobile or in your browser. That is called as malicious ads in a browser. Injecting scripts like in your browser or in your web applications, uh, via third party or via cookies, the malware script JavaScript will be floating in your system. So it will be injected in malware scripted. In software and application terms, that is like SQL injections, Trojan software downloaded, crack software or pirated software that will lead as a malware entry points, right? And in terms of mobile media devices like USB devices, hard disk, that are external hard disk, when you do inject your USB pen drive or external hard disk in your system or anywhere, sometimes it will be welcoming some malware or some viruses in your system or your mobile devices. When you're sharing any file via mobile devices to other mobile devices, sometimes some malware or viruses or worm will also welcoming in your mobile device via sharing file or app. So these are the from mobile devices and web application. In network terms of there are the network and services also as a common entry point for malware, like open port or weak configuration in firewall or routing, remote desktop protocols that breach your malware attacks, like network services. That were the common entry points that will welcome with the malware or the malicious softwares or malicious entries that will planting a backdoor entries, right? How defend it? Keep OS update, use security emails, make session to your employees or your colleagues, how to use a malicious software or any software before installation. Please read all the terms and conditions and detailing, uh, and not click on a malicious mail or not download a malicious .exe file install. So these are some basic that will be a defend and malware entry points, right? And next point is sorry. Next point is ensuring coding. So in terms of ensuring coding, like in real world example, cross-site scripting x-axis terms of is in form of cross-site scripting, SQL injection, and file upload and visibility, right? So in terms of exam, in terms of coding, like lack of input validation, accepting a raw user input without checking, like as already said that the fake login portal where you don't check the details, HTTP or not HTTPS portals. So in that login form, you just pass the username and password, and just not passing your credentials. You already pass your all details to the third parties, like searching box without sanitizing the HTML or JS, lead the cross-site accepting, right? Hard-coded credentials, store username and password or API keys directly on your source code. In some time, we use some secret key or client IDs in directly in a source code. So the hackers will easily get that your client ID or secret key that will be used by unauthorizedly by him. So it's great if we prevent that and not use any source code. It right just fetching it from database or storing some other way. If leak accounts directly system access, again these are the hard coding credentials. Poor authentication or authorization, weak session handling. Uh, in your portal, within the portal, the user is maintained by a session, right? If we are aware of web applications, right? If the session is handling if session handling is not in proper way or weak session handling, that anyone can be get another account or any jump on any accounts. So it is important to use authentication or and strongly use session handling. Not checking a user role and responsibilities. In terms of the portal, there are some excessive like admin, sub-admin, and users comment post, like many type of users. Sometimes the scripter or the developer not use as privilege escalations. So uh, that leads the uh, your detail pass to the other entities, right? So these are poor example of a poor authorization or authentications. Improper handling. Improper handling term, I'm saying that improper handling means sometimes some error directly thrown on a system and display example the user you select start from user user where user ID is equal to 1 is not accessible. So when the hacker get this that there is some table that name is user and column ID is ID, so it's easy for him to inject use the injection, SQL injection. So use the error handling proper way. Don't display any DB errors or stack tracing, right? Attacker here use error messages to learn about data type, server configuration, file path, anymore. So it's important to use error handling properly way. Just not just throw the server error or the database error directly to the user, right? Insecure file handling or file uploading. In many file web there are some upload functionality, file upload functionality. Suppose there is a no check or validation at the server side or the client side to upload the file type. So what if I upload the exe file or some executive file to XYZ server? It will execute after uploading. It will execute my command, anything else. So it is important to check validate the file before uploading it. Make some validation around the file size, right? Don't allow some 8 GB or 4 GB more than file to server. If you still want to upload a large level file, use the chunk method to upload a large level file. And yes, also validate the file extension and validate the file type and the content. What kind of a content is it? Malware content or something else? So it is important in the file upload time. Code injection in vulnerability in JavaScript in terms of there are multiple functions. Some functions are used as a eval that that command directly to the user input, like execute or ping, that will use it in a properly way, right? Use encryption or the encryption protocol. Strong sensitive data in a plain text. You use HTTPS, right? And secure coding practices. Also, also in terms of coding, validate and sanitize all input before the processing it, right? Whitelist your IPs, whitelist your IPs, what number of IPs, what the kind of IPs will be hitting the server, right? Uh, Follow the principle of at least privilege your account APIs, like use the session key or token key that allow to use your APIs, right? Implement a strong authentication or session management. Use two-factor authentications. Yeah, or two-factor authentication means uh, first authentication is from username password, and second authentication is from the like OTP or some other point of which like Google use number two-way factors from your Google account. So use the two-way factor account, two-way factor authentication, right? So is examining ensuring coding. And the third point is secure coding practices. So in secure coding practices, it's also a part of securing the coding. It's kind of input validation and output encoding. Use your SQL, sanitize your SQL before the processing, like and authentication, session management. Already brief it. Secure error handling and logging it, and try to don't show your error to the users directly as an dump data of your errors, right? Secure file handling, encryption, use encryption, like your when you passing your data in your request call, just try to encrypt your data, pass encrypted data to the server, so it will easy to not decrypt to other users. Like we will also use the check this in a demo in next few minutes. Secure API development, right? Use authentication like OAuth, JWT, multiple authentication method are there. So in API, use authentication and authorization. Validate all your inputs. Make sure there are some rate limit on in your APIs to prevent usage. Suppose some uh, some attacker try to multiple thousand a million of hits on your server in a few seconds. So make sure there is some rate limit. Suppose I have your API token, right? So I'm able to access your API and hit your API multiple times, right? So per API token, define some rate limit like 100 APIs in per second, 100 API or 1000 API in 1 minute, or 1000 or 10,000 in 1 hours. Use some logic behind it in rate limit on API to prevent this kind of abuses, right? Uh, Avoid exploring unnecessary endpoint. Follow securing code like common weakness encryption. These are some basic points that make sure before starting coding or developing any web or the app, right? So these are the things that are from the slide side. Now we're moving on next slide, that is understanding a cyber attack, the digital truth. So what is the cyber attacks and its categories? The cyber attack is nothing. It's just a cloning of computer and system network through the malicious code, alternating to logic or data, leading the cyber-like information and identity theft. The categories of the cyber attacks, like web-based attackers, system-based attackers, secure system and network entry points. These are the basic categories uh, in cyber attack. In web-based attack, basically web applications in server, browser, user interaction. That's basically a web-based attack in terms of web-based attack. What is common type of web-based attacks? It's include like SQL injection. Uh, SQL injection is basically that injecting a malicious SQL query into your field to manipulate your database or fetching your data from database. Unauthorized data access, modification, even full of database is compromised by SQL injection if you not design your database or not use authenticate properly, right? So in a SQL injection, let's take an example. Suppose you suppose a login panel, right? In login panel, where is unique username and password, right? Suppose my username is Rohit and password is 12345, right? And in SQL injection, we pass some tricks, some string that just pass my password authentication and just throw the random user or XYZ user detail to me by passing the some SQL injection. We will detail it in a demo and after a few minutes, right? So next type in web-based attacks is the XSS, that is a cross-site scripting. Cross-site scripting is basically injecting a malware JavaScript or some malicious code in your input that will execute when the page is load, right? Uh, in terms of example, there are in your web server, there are comment section, right? Let's suppose an example of Facebook or Twitter. There are the tweeting section. There is some block is a type your text, right? Is a text box. When you're typing a text, that to save in your database, right? And after that, it will just load when you reload the page, right? What if we just uh, inject or type some malicious JavaScript code or some file or some download functionality or some redirection functionality in input box? What if we just pass the window dot location and redirect to XYZ site? So if system is not handle it properly, it what will be happen? Uh, it will be just when the page is load. Suppose we just type a window dot location is equal to XYZ and just post it. So what will be it will happen when the page is load? The page is load and our script is execute window dot location is equal to XYZ. Our page will move from Twitter or Facebook to my page XYZ, right? So Twitter or XYZ Twitter bounce rate will be going to high, and my XYZ website will be in traffic will be move on a highly side, right? So these are the some basic cross scripting that will be in we will brief in detail after a few minutes. And next is the file uploading attacks. I already briefed it how it file uploading and how we'll authenticate it. uploading a malicious file like .exe or accessing a server, it will impact our code execution or server takeover. Anything will happen if attacker what kind of file is uploaded and executed in a server, right? Remote code execution. That's the basic things are web-based attackers. Exploiting a application to execute attacker code to the server, like full system compromise. Due to this, the full system will be compromised, right? Uh, in terms of example, uh, again the comment section we pass some random or some malicious code that will compile in your server and like remove drop your database to a database. So when the command is executed or the come from or the command is executed, the malicious line will be react accordingly as it is if we not handle the validation or input your inputs. So these are the some web-based attacking uh, uh, features in terms of man in the middle man in the middle in terms of in between the client and server there are some attackers that fetching your details, just watching your details like what is your typing in your browser, what is your name, what is your card detail list, cv number, etc, etc, etc. So it's just a data thief and credentials stealing. So these are the some points web-based attacker. The main in web-based attacker, the main is basically hacking in a cookie thieves. We store all the details in a cookie, like session and the user details and multiple things stored in a cookie and handled as a login easily from these cookies. So attackers mainly try to fetch that or steal that cookies and um, cookies from the browser. So it's important to use the cookies in a properly way. In prevention of web-based attackers, use input validation and sanitize your SQL. Content security policies, make some content security policies. Enable token system. Restrict some file upload like file type, file size, or extensions. Use HTTP communications. Uh, Set secure cookie attributes and the web and use the firewall web application firewall that filter your attackers what kind of IPs or what kind of a URL or what kind of web you're allowing or what is not allowed via firewall. So these are the some basic point that will help to prevent the web-based attack. In terms of system-based attacks, it's basically operating system and network vulnerability. So the common type of system-based attackers is like malware attack, like a virus, worm, Trojan, ransom, and many more. These are the some system-based attackers. Uh, uh, in terms of this, the attackers try to in system-based attackers try to password attack, like method use the brute force attacks, key logging, credential stripping, unauthorized account system access. These are the some basic system-based attacks. And logic bombs. Logic bomb basically a malicious code that trigger a specific event, date, or some time or some action. Due to this, the data will be corrupted or delete or disturbed. These are the some logic bombs that design in a system attack, right? Backdoors, basically some hidden entry points due to some configuration mismatch or low configuration server low configurations. Uh, the attackers have access to backdoors, so attacker can easily remotely access the unauthorizedly access your server or your details. So it will do anything if we have a admin access of your system, right? How to prevent these? Basically, make sure your system, your OS is up to date. Latest patches will up to date it. Use antivirus, endpoint detection, use privilege access control to user, right? Use a strong password or multi-factor authentications. Use firewall, IDS or IPS, regular system auditing, log monitoring. Due to log monitoring, we have a uh, if we log our APIs or system log we monitoring it, we have just general idea that what kind of a services or what kind of hit in our systems. So we monitor it. It is required to monitor time to time the system log. If any malicious software or any malicious activity find in your log, just do it some action on it. Otherwise, it will take some compromise in your security threats, right? So these are the some system-based attackers points. In terms of system and network entry points, these are the some user account and password, file upload, removal medias, application like software or weak configuration, local server or port services or port, like third parties, libraries, uh, phishing or download activities. These are the some network entry points and how to secure it. Mm, Use a strong authentication method, patch management system, regular update your OS or software, or use authenticate libraries or software in your system. Use access control system, least privilege principle, role based access to users, not to allow anyone with random access, right? Use application whitelisting or sandboxing for new system. Uh, Whitelist your IPs, whitelist your some APIs that are frequently used in your system. Secure file handling, right? And these are the some system and network entry points. So secure your Wi-Fi access control and secure your router and switches. So in terms of Wi-Fi in your company or in your offices, everybody uses Wi-Fi, right? Right. So what if we have we pass a Wi-Fi credential to anyone, XYZ, or any visitor, and he try to some malicious activity with with the uh, uh, with my Wi-Fi access. If he have a Wi-Fi access, then if he have already also have a access in our network, right? So he can, if he have some technique to do some in a network, so he will do anything on our and our web server or anything. So system suggests that the just try just divide your Wi-Fi into two segment. One segment is used for your users, your employees or your staff, and other segment is used for Wi-Fi segment is used for the visitors. So these are the some basic points that will be used to prevent the malware entries. Disable unused port or services, right? Use the DNS securities or email securities, spam filters in your network, right? Network monitoring and log in real time and verify it via AI system or any. And there are many tools that monitor your log and alert you when find any activities that are not expected as it is. So use these kind of preventions to secure your entry points in network, right? So understanding a malware and types. So malware in multiple types, like a virus. Virus is basically file that's separated within seven. It basically slow your performance, unusual pop-up. These these are the some features that so on when the virus is in your system. Won't basically automatically spreading automatically in a network, right? It's basically high network traffic frequently crash, unexpected messages sent from your system. Trojan horse basically tricking a user into installing slow performance such as activities, unknown program running, ransom, spyware, adware, rootkit, backdoor, or cryptic. There are multiple kind of malware types. They behave like randomly. Uh, Everyone have a separate behavior. Like ransom have an encrypted file demanding a money. Just encrypt your file or your database and just demanding your money to decrypt it for decrypting it. Where basically they record your activities, slow your performance, unauthorized background program frequently pop up. Suppose unauthorized background program, it means that suppose your application is running on your phone or your or on a web. So some background process is executed permanently, like uh, throwing your information to third party or third user that this action is performed. These are the usernames, like this. Like suppose in market there are terms is a lead, right? So when user fill the inquiry in policy bazaar, so what if in XYZ or policy bazaar site have some background process that throwing your lead to another another vendor. So it's basically it's kind of passing your for your information via background process, right? Backdoor entry point, hidden entries points that unauthorized access to other user, unexpected. What happen if backdoor entries, unexpected system behavior, increase the network activity, unfamiliar user account, right? Crypto jockeys use a device to crypto without an content, unexpected Celeron, unnecessary CPUs. So basically, in this process, unnecessary process will execute that will lead your system to slow down or overrating. So there are many more type in malware. These are some basics that it uses, and these are the sign in malware types, right? The common web application. The common web application is basically these are the primary malware interfering through the website or and applications like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, XX, remote local file, right? Cross-site request, request forgery, supply chain attackers. So anyone have idea what is a SQL injection or XXS? Okay, Jesus. No issues. Injecting basically, injecting means just uh, passing your malicious text or malicious content in between the SQL. SQL is basically a database bridge basically that with the help of SQL we fetch the database data from the your database or inserting or deleting or updating the database. These are the basically SQL, and injecting basically just passing the some random or some malicious chunk of or some text in your input to inject it in your SQL to manipulate the database on operations, right? So what is the SQL injection? A code injecting a technique that allow attacker to interface with the query or an application make it on a database, right? What is targeting? It's targeting basically the web application like database, SQL. There are multiple SQL like MySQL, PostgreSQL, MS, SQL, Oracle, many more targeting. It's basically lead due to the uh, poor input validation or insecure query building. If we use a prepare SQL or validate our input, so we prevent it from an SQL injection. How it SQL injection will work? I will demo it at the end of the slide, right? So these are the some basics in SQL injection. Sorry. Uh, so oh, To prevent the SQL injection, use store procedure, user input validation, least privilege principle, error handling, web application firewall. These are the basic things that we'll use to prevent the SQL injection. What is a cross-site scripting? Next point is a cross-site scripting. Cross-site scripting basically a client-side scripting into web page view by other users, right? Uh, Cross-site is basically attacker inject some malicious JavaScript code into a trusted website or a web application via comment method or via input method. When the other user visit the site, malicious is the script that passed from the comment section that will execute in their browser. So what will be happen? What will be happen? Suppose we pass, as I already detailed in a few minutes back, that in Twitter we just pass the window.location location or just pass the get the cookie JavaScript code in your comment section, and other user when browse their that page, the script will execute. The script will execute the script will execute and redirect your page to XYZ. So these are the script execution. Basically, these are the cross-site scripting example. Type of cross-site scripting is storage, presenting malicious script permanently stored in database. Permanently stored in database in which means in some comment section, in some comment database, or some uh, or in some input that just submitted by a XYZ user, that is stored in your database, your system database. When the user and when the XYZ other user will execute your page or browse your page, the stored cross-site scripting or malicious script will execute. So it will lead to every user who injected the page and inject this page, right? So it's a mass compromise or cookie theft, phishing, or many more. Anything will be happen by cross-site scripting if you will not handle it properly. Uh, non-presenting scripted uh, script use via URL or redirect back to the response, like uh, for example, uh, in your web URL, there are some parameter or some parameter like q is equal to free text, right? Or search is equal to free text. So we just pass there are script we just pass in browser our script, like script alert xyz script closing tag. So what will be happen when the page is loaded? The our alert uh, our past parameter will execute and prompt that as alert xyz, right? Uh, it will also be we use it in a demo in the next few minutes, right? Local file, remote file inclusions. Basically, vulnerability include remote file or file in a server user can access if we not you authorize or use properly authenticate or use make him misconfigure our server configuration. So anyone can access the local file or server. So these are the basically remote or local file inclusions. Uh, Next is basically moving on. Next point is across frequently for this. Basically, it's just give me a moment. Basically, CSRF is basically is an attacker where a malicious website or email or attacker trick a login into user browser and perform into unwanted action on a trusted web application without their knowledge, right? So these are the cross-site forgeries. Um, in terms of example, again, there are some action on a web URL parameter. We use it. We will detail in some demo at the end of the slide, right? Supply chain attack. What is a supply chain attack? Supply chain attack basically becoming one of the biggest modern cybersecurity threat, like solar wind case or log4. It's basically clearly from teaching or training, right? A supply chain attacker basically target the process of building or updating or delivering a software or hardware or services instead of directly attacking the to the end user, right? How supply chain attack is work basically is compromise a supply, like software vendor or hardware manufacturer or cloud provider or code libraries. These basically malicious code or backdoor is instant into lightweight product or update. Like for example, in third party software or a software vendor or third party libraries, what if some malicious code or some malicious chunks or some execution software uh, or or pre-installed in your library or a vendor. When you install in or use the third-party library in your applications, that malicious software are executed or execute freely, like, right? So these are the some basic things in the supply chain attackers. Uh, how to prevent it? How to prevent it for organization? Make some vendor risk management system, right? uh, Zero trust approach. Don't trust any vendor or any library blindly, right? Makes your time to time update, providing a vendor or a library time to time update in your software or library. Code integration check. Verify that digital signature or software update, right? Software build. Track all dependencies. Network segments. Isolate third party app or devices, right? So these are the basic points that use in against supply chain. For developer, use the secure software development cycle. Code significant verification. Not Don't show any secured client ID, application token, username or password in your source code or in your URL parameters. So it's from point of view, from developer and vendors point of view. So these are the basic points that in supply chain attack. We move on next slide. That is SQL injection. We have already brief what is SQL injection based on malware. It's basically nothing. It's just a trick or some trick to bypass our SQL if we not use properly sanitize our input or not use prepare a SQL properly. So store procedures leverage availability in a database procedure to execute code, like update any XYZ table or remove or drop or anything else. Data exclusion is stealing sensitive data through a compromised database section, like fetch the user information, fetch the your company detail, fetch the lead detail, fetch your user phone number. There are multiple things that can happen via stealing the data via SQL injection, right? Ransomware on a database, encrypting your database connected and demanding some ransom to decrypt it. To protecting your database overall system, is basically it's in malware terms of there are some steps or some steps that that system or user need to take it, like use a firewall, make sure your database is properly designed or system security is properly placed in there, right? So these are the some basic things that always in the mind before developing or maintaining any system or any app or any web applications. So these are the basic points that prevent us to from malware entries. So we're moving the next slide. That is basically what is hacker can do. Like in this example, there are some in center of a point. There are some user. Sometimes it's a user. Sometimes it's an attacker. What will be happen? Some if I'm paying or I'm logging in a portal or paying some payment to XYZ via some web services via some applications. Attacker, what happen if attacker attacker size on my web via cookie or via some malicious activities or my via libraries via third party library or vendor. What will be happen? What will happen? He just catching my details like login username password or my card details CVV number anything, right? So it will just get the confidential data, my social engineering, data breaches, hacking, phishing, spam, blocking of device. There many things happen. These are some example what will be happen, and if attacker what can attacker can do via these features, right? So moving next slide. That is basically what is a phishing and attacker can do. Common malware entry point basically unpatched software, phishing attacks basically via SMS, via phone call, via email. In email, um, there are attached file that will be some image or some exe file or some executed file in term showing as a dot png file, some link that lead to your some XYZ site that is basically a copy of some other site. So these are phishing. These are the basically phishing. Compromise user account, third-party applications, malware endpoint, malware on endpoint, file upload or download. Uh, User can attacker basically upload any file, .exe file or any file if we not validate file before uploading or not filtering it before processing it. In terms of download, attacker uh, can just push his code in a script that can lead to download malicious software, malicious activities time to time to down prompt and download pop-up. These are the basically file upload and download. Supply chain already cover in last slide. Malicious inside treated, exploiting cloud API, unpatched software. These are the basic entry points of common malware in cloud. So we're moving to the next slide. That is basically common web application. In a common web application, basically a network security control. In terms of network security control, in we already in last past slide we discussed around web and app applications in terms of UI, right? And cookies and in a browser basis. Now we discussing on network point of view. Network security control are a basically policy or a tool or a technology that implement to protect or integrate uh, and availability of a data while it being transmitted across a store in a network, right? So in terms of network security control, we use a firewall, ACL basically access control list, restrict some network resources, network segment, VLAN basically encryption like TLS, VPN, IPS, protecting data in transit, right? Authentication or authorization via multi-factor authentication via LDAP, right? Detective control, network identify and alert suspicious activities occur if when environment occur like like intrusion detection of a system, like network monitoring and logging. There are some tools like SIME tools, automated AI or ML based monitoring system, uh, and the correction of control. Basically, correction of control when we detect some malicious activity or action in our network. What our action will we do? The respond and record from security incident like IPS, like patches management to fix it multiple times after detecting it. Backup and recovery system. There must be some backup and recovery system. What will happen if our system is crash or attacker just delete our XYZ table from database. So it will be good if we have some backup or recovery system uh, in our cloud. So we just recover it from the cloud, right? Physical network control like routers, switches, server, and log room, network cabling protection, accessing bridges like biometric, CCTV, network for hardware. These are the basically physical network control that make sure they are properly use the security patches. Excuse me. These are the basically uh, some points on network security. The core network security, what we're talking about, if we're talking about a core network security tool and techniques. Uh, in this slide, we talk about like firewall, VPN system, ID, IPS, secure DNS system, email security gateways, zero trust network, network access control. These are the basic common point that make sure already all in place in a network, right? So in terms of endpoint user, leading the malware loaded installation, antivirus, zero trust policies already covered. Maybe moving on next slide. That is basically endpoint protection. Endpoint protection basically endpoint protection basically nothing is this just a minute, hold on. So and excuse me, just a minute, hold on. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Vikas.
Hello.
I'm audible. Yeah. So I'm
Yes, yes.
sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So where is he? So we cover in firewall, IDP, IDS, and IPS and networks, right? Uh, what is the endpoint? Endpoint basically a device connected to the network that attacker can target it. Example: laptop, desktop, server, mobile phone, uh, POS system. Every endpoint is a basically potential entry point for malware or attackers, right? Uh, and what is the user vector? User vector is basically exploiting a human behavior, use a patch of attack. Um, it's for example like phishing an email, malicious attachment, fake login pages, social engineering call. These are the basically user vectors. Common entry points on attacker vectors like malicious software, like Trojan horse, Trojan ransomware, spyware, delivered via email or via drive via download. via USB, like unpatched system, like missing security update. Uh, like an example that WannaCry using an blue weak configuration, default password, or insecure services, removable media devices, use Marvel basically spread via auto run or a hidden executable file that will pass by a USB or external devices. Right. Uh, uh, in terms of a personal phone or laptop, introduce some vulnerability into a corporate network. These are the basically some endpoint network vectors. Common user network. What is the common user network? Common user network basically a phishing, fake email, tricking a user into a click malicious software, social engineering, just review credentials like password or password or credentials of your XYZ site. These are the basically some points uh, how to prevent it in terms of a user. Basically make some awareness training to user or to employee to our staff. What is the phishing or what is the malware software? This awareness training. Just enforce multi-factor authentication. That's called MFA. A strong password policy. As you we already aware of, every no no normally every site have some logic that use a capital letter or some special character, combination of a capital letter, small character, number and special characters. Use the combination in your password, right? So these are the features that use password policies. Least privilege access, limited user right, provide use the access control system, um, and just past access to limited user, right? These are the some points that prevent end user and as a user from the malware, right? So uh, components of a malware of endpoint user, basically components of endpoint different, basically use antivirus or anti-malware, uh, host-based firewall, use host-based firewall, filtering incoming and outgoing traffic, right? Uh, Disk encryption, protect data at a reset, right? Patch management system, regularly update your OS or application close vulnerability before attacker exploiting them, right? Time to time change your API keys. What if it will be passed to think about it, it will pass to some XYZ user, and now it is not in your system. So just change your API keys. Device control, restrict to USB device or external device. In many offices or in many offices that there is a culture or there is some rule that in system you cannot use USB or USB port, right? That blocked by a system admin. So the reason behind it, it's basically preventing it from this kind of malicious activities uh, to via blocked USB devices, right? Uh, so this basically some point that cover in this. What is a phishing? Common type of phishing. Phishing basically nothing is as an email phishing. It's basically via email phishing, fake email, uh, like your account will be logged via your account will be logged. Just click here, or you win $1,000. Just click here to claim it, right? So these are the phishing email, phishing SMS, like your parcel delivery is failed. Please click here to reschedule your delivery. phishing email, phone call that your account will be locked. Please pass your account details to unlock it. Business email compromises like CEO or when led tracking your employee into winning money, right? These are the some phishing how to control it, verify sender address or a domain. Uh, However, link before is clicking it. Just check link or downloaded file before download any downloaded file or click on any site. Just make sure the where the application you're using or web app you're using is authenticate. It's in mobile app. It's downloaded via iOS or Google app through Google app. In web terms of it's basically make sure that it's HTTPS and never share your credential or OTP via email or phone, right? These are the some point that user need to take before taking any action. In terms of organization control, security awareness training must be conduct time to time. Uh, Incident response of reported phishing attempt or any specific activities reported to the system admin. These are the some point that in terms of organization level. These are the basically endpoint user. Now moving the next slide, that is basically endpoint protection. Endpoint protection basically nothing. It's basically advanced antivirus, anti-malware or ADR system detecting and response the threat and individual devices. Application securities, we already covered endpoint protection in detail in past slides, so we're just moving on briefly, right? So application security is a hardened application against the exploiting with a regular testing or secure coding practice or the security firewall system. Um, these are the basically application securities. Network securities utilize firewall, IDS, and IPS to monitor or block potential threats at the network. Application security we already covered in a first and second slide, so we're not going on in detail in right now. And network security we will discuss in detail in firewall in coming slide, right? Uh, so we moving on the next slide. How malware will enter and enter in a system, like, and how it will be prevented. Suppose in first block there are malware attempt as a user input, right? uh, in left side validate. If user is validate or user input is validate, it pass to a net system, network or API access or or scan or restricting simply in network or API access. We just checking us secure API, TLS or firewall or token. We validate it. If all thing is okay or validating and promising, it's genuine. So we're moving on. Next point, that is basically dependencies, library uses. What kind of a dependencies or what kind of a library, third-party library used in a system, like for example, we use a Google Map, right? Google Map is authenticate library. I'm not saying that, but what if XYZ map is there and we're using it XYZ map library, right? So if XYZ map library have some specific code or malicious code or event that triggering an event time to time and passing user information to other server. So make sure the dependencies that library users are properly or authenticate. So if this section is passed, check the weak authentication exploited. If we use a multi-factor authentication, a strong control system. So these are the some patches. Uh, Point to step by step we use these patches. We have a sufficient uh, sufficient area to prevent malware entries, right? So in this diagram, uh, graphic, in this diagram, they basically just briefing how the system will work on in a web or a app, uh, uh, to throwing your data in a web or a app system, right? So moving on, next slide, that is basically warning sign of malware. What if the malware already exists in your system or in our network or a phone or a laptop? So it will be, yes, there are some signs like your device is freezing, crashing, or slinging slow. Your device is becoming slow. Program open and close on their own, right? Pop up frequently open and close, right? There are a unfamiliar program on your device. You're not aware of it, what is happening behind it, right? You are bombarded with unwanted pop-up. If you remember that uh, before some year, 5 to 10 years, there are some when you're using a pen drive, there are multiple times happen that multiple pop-up bombarding in your system after detecting any viruses if we not have any antivirus in the system, right? So these are the bombarding unwanted pop-ups. Your PC has a high uses even though it's ideal, right? uh, your CPU uses, your memory it will be hit on top uses, right? And heating system is also there if user is high. People are using your email address to send an email. He have access of your system, so he can do anything via this. So many more example. These are some common example that non-techie user also can uh, think that there are some specific activities that sign to the malware, right? So we're moving on next slide. Malware protection technique, that is basically guide to protecting yourself and network from malicious software threats. Basically, keep system update, right? Keep system update, it's mean install security patches regularly and enable automatically update whenever possible. What if we're using antivirus, right? What if we not update it time to time? So it will become antivirus when we are not updated in a multiple of years. It will it will convert in as an virus, right? If you're not updating it time to time, it will behave uh, uh, antivirus behave unpredictable, right? It's uses your system more than regularly. So so basically enable automatically update or use our time to time update regularly via manually system. You right, use protection tool, run repeated antivirus solution with real-time protection, and schedule regular scan or make some automatical scan system. Use a AI and ML system to scan your system or an alert your system admin if you have any unwanted suspicious activities in your system, right? Enable firewall system. Firewall techs use both hardware root and software firewall to prevent unauthorized connection. Firewall is nothing basically. It's a wall to passing the data or passing the packet uh, before from here to there, right? um, Before passing the packet, the firewall was just scanning or authenticate that packet is a valid or not authorized. If it is valid, it's passed to the network, to the system, right? Internal system. It's we discuss in detail in firewall. Next slide. Safe online behavior. Safe online behavior basically. safe online behavior in terms of practice safe browsing. In today we all aware of about a safe browsing system. Avoid clicking unknown link or a pop-up or any unwanted or suspicious activities. Verify website URL. Look for HTTPS. Use privacy force browser extensions, right? In browser, uh, don't use any install any extension without checking it is authorized or not authorized, right? So there are multiple extension in a browser like Chrome. There are multiple extension in if you go on a browser extension section. There are multiple extension that is already registered and user are used. Uh, so before installing any extension, please make sure that the extension is a valid and is only up to dated. Uh, these are the basically some points that make sure before doing some action, right? Email and attachment safeties. Do not open unexpected attachment. Be aware of phishing email. Verify sender address. Uh, in terms of verify sender address carefully, uh, it means that the it means that when we receive an email, there are some steps like sender name, CC, BCC, subject, body, attachment, right? So when we sending email, there are in email functionality there are a header where we can just overwrite the email from address, right? From means if suppose email received from uh, xyz at the rate phishing.com, right? And in from address, we just override uh, that the name is PMO, right? PMO of PMO office, right? So when a user receive a PMO office email, when user receive an email from a PMO office address, he think that this mail is a valid or it's from a PMO office. He don't think about a second thought. He's just doing just as it is in the body steps. Follow that, like just click on that and just verify your account number, anything else in a mail body. So and verify sender address. It's make sure that the sender address is genuine and verify it's matched from the from address and to address and receiver address, right? These are the basically a manually behavior that user need to make sure before doing any action, right? These are the basically safe online behavior in terms of malware. Account and download securities. Use strong authentications. Use unique password. Enable multi-factor authentication. Consider the password manager. Use this unique password means use unique password means uh, don't use as a password as a your name or your as a your username or your DOB or your family member name. These are the some easy techniques to attacker to prevent your password, right? It will be this kind of enable multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication basically a kind of a username password plus OTP verification or some some other authentication like Google use number verification in your mobile app. If you log in on your account, they're sending someone authentication number on mobile on your mobile account via Google account. You just click on tap on that number, it will be authenticate in your browser, right? So these are the multi-factor authentication. Consider a password manager. These are the basically some point that they are indicating the strong authentications. Secure downloads. Download from official sources. avoid some pirated software, or verify the file has when possible, right? So it's a basically download is basically a human CTA, human click to call action basically. Uh, Before downloading or before accessing any site or any pages, just verify that the page is authenticate, or it's not copy or a malware or attack or attacker suspicious activities. So it's a basically secure download system. Before when you be downloading or any file and installing it, make sure the just read the all authentication factors or detail that following in download in installation step, right? It will prevent it from malicious software installation, right? So moving on next slide, network and device securities. In network securities, use a VPN on a public Wi-Fi, disable unnecessary file sharing, change your router default password. When we install our Wi-Fi or our router, there are some default password 123 or 00 or admin. After installing it, just change it and use some strong password or unique password. Keep mobile device and device securities. Keep mobile device updated. Install app or untrusted stores only. Disable unnecessary features, Bluetooth or NFC, right? Uh, and device security. There are some ad for iPhone, right? Right. Uh, uh, that is basically in ad there are multiple birds are just watching your mobile devices, right? And that's passing your detail to attacker, right? So iPhone is saying that his device is safe for the web browsing or trusted for a user in terms of in comparison to Android. So these are the basically device securities that managed by yourself or the device manager, right? Least privilege principle, avoid using administrator account for daily task or grant permission only when it's necessary. Yes, use the least privilege principle methodology, right? Backup and educations, backup and recovery, keep regular backup. Offline, make you can backup your offline mode or use a cloud mode. I prefer a cloud mode. Keep regular backup of database or a system, right? Make sure that there are some test recovery process, right? Use immutable backup against the ransom system, right? And many more points that will be in backup and recovery in terms of like backup and recovery awareness and educations. Keep using of social engineering tricks. Stay updated on latest malware trend, how malware is behaving, or how the attackers nowadays uses, like train your employee on a cyber. I mean, have, right? Even the best technique protection, human awareness remain your strongest defense against the malware, right? I'm strongly favor in this line because if a human uh, make sure that he is using a click on XYZ page or passing a detail, typing in detail, you just have idea that system what kind of a your system is behave, right? If it will be a flow that must that some indication on your mind that why it's slow, why it's taking too much time to type my detail, right? So yes, and if a human awareness is there, so will be it will be a great to defend against the malware, right? How to prevent network prevent malware? Firewall, secure DNS, ID, IPS, and segments. Control traffic based on a rule, blocking unauthorized connection, right? Preventing malware from communication, block content to unknown malware domains, preventing phishing and malware from download, monitoring traffic from suspicious activities with IPS activity, blocking malicious packets in a real time, segment divide network into isolated sections, limited limiting a malware separate across entire network, right? So these are the network defense layer. Malware protection technologies, endpoint protection. Endpoint protection is basically create a RESTful API endpoint and it's called controller and generate card operation based on database schema. Use endpoint protection like authenticate, use a token system. Next generation antivirus detect and detecting known and unknown file attacks. Use AI and machine learning. Right. Next generation firewall, basically providing a packet filtering VPN or a NAT, including inclusion prevention and deep packaging installation, user reported based malware protections. IPS, basically intrusion prevention system, monitoring network traffic to detect and block malware when the malware when a packet try to enter your system, right? Record and report and respond treat in a real time. So if a malware or reported in a real time within a time, so the system will take action accordingly automatically. Make sure there are some logic to prevent it, right? Sandbox security testing suspicious code safely in isolated mode. Protect against the zero-day threat and stealing attackers. Zero trusted securities policies. Zero security policies means ensuring strict user and device verification. Isolate networks resource and prevent malware separate. Minimize potential damage. Right. So we are moving on next slide. That is your first line of defense is basically first line of defense is a firewall. Firewall is a security device that monitoring and control incoming and outgoing network, right? Its a core purpose is to act as a barrier between the trusted internal network and untrusted external network, right? Like internet. So, like uh, in a nightclub, checking your IDs, deciding who will get in or who will not, right? So it's a firewall. Key functionalities, key features of firewall: trafficking filter, allow or block packets based on a certain like IP addresses, ports, protocol, ensuring only authorized data move through external to internal system, right? Policy enforcement, enforce organized security policies such as restricted access to certain website or application, right? Uh, like there are many of this. There are some site are banned or restricted, like Facebook. Many more sites are banned due to policy enforcement. Monitoring and logging. Keep detailed record of all traffic, both allowed and denied, which is crucial for auditing and incident or in response. Right. Network segment. Network segment divide the network into an isolated zone, like for HR or finance or guest Wi-Fi to limited movement of a trip, right? Intrusion prevention. Advanced firewall can detect and block suspicious activities pattern indicated of an ongoing attacks, right? The malware landscape, we already covered it, I guess. Whereas what Trojan or ransom adware. We moving on next slide. That is understanding the firewall development architect. It's basically internal segment. first in the internal segment, that's a firewall isolated for HR, finance, R&D department. Perimeter firewall protected LAN for internet traffics, hybrid cloud that is integrated, TMJ zone, host public and web and mail server, right? Uh, Firewall types basically packet filtering, the oldest and simplest, basically a packet or ID or a header. Fast, but is easily bypassed due to the lack of containers. Right? These are packet filtering, stateful instruction tracker connection state, differentiating between a new and established connection for moving a secure and traffic control. Proxy, proxy basically operating the application layer, inspecting content within a packet. Example HTTP command offering deep inspection but can be slower, right? Next generation combine states inspection and deep packet inspections. Basically, it's next is hosted based, cloud and virtual. Hosted base basically install on on an individual device like a Defender firewall providing endpoint specific protection. Cloud firewall provide as a service by a cloud provider like example the service provider like AWS security groups, Azure security groups. Basically, these are the working on a cloud firewall system. So firewall policy, whitelisting and backing and blacklisting. So what is a whitelisting? Whitelisting basically is allowing these packet IP or addresses, and blacklisting basically uh, don't don't allow the packets IP or addresses, right? Default allow means everything is allowing unless some XYZ packet or access or addresses are denied. It is easy to implement initially. It is an inherent less security because everyone is allowed here. Some XYZ or number of IPs or number of address are denied. So a new threat can exploit unknown vulnerability mission, right? So the risk factor is a high here. Uh, so the next is default deny. Default in a network, uh, we prefer that the default deny system, basically whitelist system, default deny all the IP or address in a via firewall. We just allow number of 100 or 50 or XYZ number of IPs or address in our network that can access our network, right? So the prevention, the area of a malware attack is a basically limited, right? Only 100 or 1,000 or x number of IP or address can access our network traffic. So it's a basically attacker can access probabilities it will be less, right? So moving in next slide, basically it's a basically fire comparison between security tools like firewall basically control the network traffic based on a rule like what is the port number, what is the IP address, right? Basically, it does not expect the file content or remove malware. Antivirus basically detecting and removing unknown malware from endpoint. Limited network level protection. There is their ID and IPS monitoring suspicious activity and detecting and preventing it. May not block all attackers if not integrated with firewall, right? So these are the security tools. Malware attack flow in a real world. We already cover phishing email, malware download, data exploration. We already cover it in past slide, right? Advanced network protection, security, email security gateway, filter spam, phishing, or malicious attachment that the email server using a sandbox test attachment before delivering it. Uh, right? Endpoint security integration, connect a network defense with the endpoint protection, automatically isolate or machine to prevent spreading it. Web application firewall, protect web server from the malicious request filtering input to prevent SQL injection, cross-site scripting, CSRF attackers, patch management, ensuring all devices are updated, and patches are patching and closing a vulnerability before hacking and exploiting them. Right? Zero trust and monitoring policy. Zero trust network access. Trust no device or user by default using multi-factor authentication and microsegment to the limit the movement of malware. Right? Traffic monitoring and anomalous detection can collect and analyze the log from all devices, detecting unusual pattern like data treating, the data passing, detecting malware communication. Right. In example, a compromised employee laptop cannot access sensitive HR server without re-authenticate or unusual 2 a.m. data transfer are immediately flagged, right? Uh, that because it's offline hours, so when you are accessing some XYZ data in 2 a.m., that is basically flagging trigger point for detection, right? Uh, Key factors, key takeaway, basically defense in a depth, combine multiple layer of protection at a personal level or network level, security, stay updated, regularly update, patches and security awareness of your first line of a defense, human element, use awareness and enforce your some policy, remain critical technology protections. These are the some basics. Security will only as strong as it is weak links, right? So we never trust user input. Always sanitize all the data received from the external sources. Protect resource loading. Implement content security policies and some resource integrity for external script, right? Harden your supply chain, regularly audit and update all the third-party libraries and dependencies. Make sure audit time to time, and if you find any irregular activities, just work on it. Implement strong authentications, enforce multi-factor authentication, and secure session management. Prevent it. Right, these are the basically slide that we cover. Now we moving on some coding level demo features, right? Okay.
So, participants, I request if you have any question till now or if you want any clarification, you may put it in the chat box. Otherwise, we will move next.
Okay. So my screen is visible to all. Okay. Yes. Just let's begin.
Yes, yes, it is visual. So, I think there is no question, sir. So we may
Okay.
move ahead.
Okay. No, no. There is some Lakshmikant. Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Yeah. There is some input in chat box. Lakshmikant. Yes, Lakshmikant. Okay. Anyways, we're moving on next. These are the best. Shall we continue?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. This site is basically designed by me for just for a demo purpose. How the SQL injection it works. There are some features that we cover in our slide. SQL injection, cross-site scripting, right? Stored cross-site scripting, Ajax call, CSFR token. Okay, okay. Click to call basically a download functionality, upload file demo we cover in these, right? So in SQL injection they say basically there are in our database, right? In database, there are some user input. My screen is visible. Are you able to see the database? Are you
Sorry,
guys?
the your PPT is visible.
Okay, just a minute. Hold on. Just a minute. Hold on. Just a minute. Hold on. Now it's visible. Hello. Yeah. Okay. So start from beginning. It's a basically a, local site or demo site. Just refer for this demo, right? So in this site we cover some point that we uh, discuss in a slide, like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, stored cross-site scripting, token in a API call, right? A file upload, click to download, right? So first is SQL injection. So in this point, there are some search box, right? And bottom there are some listing. If we search like user A, right? So it will just fetch the detail from the database and list it here, right? What if we pass the SQL injection like this? What happened? In our database, we have a three user, right? User ID 1, 2, 3, right? So it's just throw all the data in your database. If we have a number of a user, a million of a user, if we pass this information, we just pass these text in our search box or in a password parameter, in a login input box here, or in a login input box as a password. So what will be happen if our password is invalid and user is invalid? It will be bypass our authentication system and log in and random user in our system. In this example, it's just fetching the data from database in all the number of users in our database exist, in our user table exist, right? So we if we search properly, like next tab in a Bob, here we search same thing, copy paste, right? Here it's not working. These are basically secure SQL. We maintain SQL injection here, right? So in this side, in this in this section, we just filter the sanitize the our input user input and use prepare parameter in our SQL mode. So it's just pass or valid uh, detail from the database, right? No random detail will be, or no all the detail will be throwing here via SQL injection, right? In this example, it is happening, right? So these basically example of SQL injection, right? Next is basically cross-site scripting. In a cross-site scripting, is nothing. It's basically suppose this is our comment box section, right? in a message, this is a basically our comment box section. When we just typing here, hi, hello, how are you, right? uh, um, Good, right? So these are the basically uh, some input that that user just passing just submitted it, comment in a comment box and stored in our database, right? What if user pass some malicious activity like script tag, right? Alert, alert, hello, right? What will happen? It will just prompted here, right? You can see here in our inspect element section, right? It's visible to all of you. What if happen when other user will browse this page? When this script is compiled, the alert prompt is prompted hello, right, to everyone, right? We discuss it in a detailed section. In this section, in secure section, we just sanitize our input parameter. After sanitizing it, we're displaying input as a parameter, as a text, right? So you can see it's displaying the same as a not as a JavaScript compiling code. So we check is this in here, like we already in a demo. So, like here is some example, like set timeout and console hello after 3 seconds. Like in every 3 seconds, there are some in console there are some text consoling like hello after. Hold on, maybe make it more 1 second, right? So you can check it. The posted content is here, right? Now we just posting this script, the same content. This is basically a text, so nothing will be happen here. What if we posting the some JavaScript code or some JavaScript function in our comment section or an input section, and our system is not sanitize this input, right, before saving or before rendering it, right? So what will be happen? We just moving is it's 3 to 1 second, right? You can see here our code is basically compiled and it's work here, right? What if we just pass this section in our comment box section? Is basically nothing. It's a HTML code. Is basically image. If we talk about an image, we just take it some example. Right, just a minute, hold on. What if we pass this is here? Like X is a basically image URL, and on error we just going an information to other site, like this is a basically attacker site, right? And we passing the user cookie to attacker, right here. Just posting this text as a text here, right? So you can check our script is here, right? What magic behind the system? Why this? Why this browser? Why this is browsing continuously, right? Why this is loading process is there? Anyone have idea? Why this waiting transfer demo? Why this is happening here? This is because we just passing our information to third party via this method, right? Our detail is passing to this domain. What detail? Via Q parameter. What detail? My cookies. You say, I think, why, how will you saying that this is passing detail? Because the browser is continuously loading our page, right? There is in bottom, there is some waiting transfer indication that, right? When we go to the network system, you can check, that there is a multiple call. There are multiple call that uh, passing my information to the demo malware and web application Q is equal to this, right? So these are the basically a session passing to the user, right? User can do this via multiple way, like when user key up some detail, like username password, or just typing or just typing the card detail. On that time this process will hit, right? So now we remove the entry from the database. Now it will be okay to the user, right? Now the so what will happen? Suppose million of a user are accessing is this site after the this malicious code is submitted, right? The number of million of a user data will be thrown to attacker website or attacker database, that these are the information from this is from this IP and this user. So user have a large level of data, or large level of data that can he can do anything from this data, right? So these are the basically cross-site encrypting. How to prevent it? We prevent it via sanitizing the database, storing process. Like here, when we submitting the same content, right? What will be happen? Nothing will happen, because we sanitize and treating as same is as a text, not as a compile this as an image, or as a Ajax call or a network call. So you can see no loading is there, no data transfer, no waiting indication is there, right? So in development point of view, these are the basically secure and unsecure point. When we use a secure method, we prevent some these kind of attackers code malicious activities in our web server, right? So these are the basically process scripting. Now we're moving on to the next is uh, basically API call, right? As in a slide, I said that in API call we should use some rate limit, right? Like per second rate limit, per second, allow only 100 APIs or 1000 APIs, use some token system to per user, right? uh, like uh, like if we are using a third party APIs, right? uh, they cannot call my API directly, my webhook directly. They just we just passing some security token keys. And when token key will pass from that system, our system will allow API to third party user, right? So here we use an example of Ajax securities in a JS, right? Here can check the network method, loading profile in and secure method without any token system. User can easily access. Okay, something. Just a minute, hold on. Just a minute. Just a minute. Maybe some error. It's not working. Maybe some error due to some error. Just allow me. Just a minute. Just allow me. Yeah. So in a load profile without a token, without any securities. Here is an example. Load profile in secure method. It's just providing me detail like hi, right? This, and this is the profile number, and with this is kind of, can check it here like this. What kind of request is passing and in header? What is the response? This is the response. What if we're passing a token to a user and allow only secure token only passing the detail to only to the secure token users, right? So when we click on the load profile from secure token access, call secure token API, here is a some. Here in this API, we just checking and generate a token. If not generated, this is a token and validate the token is valid or not. And here is a some in header, we passing out some token and matching it. And in header, there are some token must be is there. Yeah, this is a token. We passing and check that the token is valid or not. If a token is not valid, it just provide an invalid CSS token. If a token is valid, it will throw the detail of a user like this. So these are the some basic features that make sure in mind before developing any applications. In terms of uploading a file, when we upload a file to a server, there are some method we store in our local server, or we store this file in a S3 bucket, or some other in a cloud, right? Um, so when we uploading any file to the server or anywhere, we make sure that we upload the only required extension file, or required and, size of file, right? We don't allow freely to upload a user to upload any file, any kind of a file, any size kind of a file. We must must be some restriction in uploading. If your requirement is to upload a large file to the server, make some chunk method, right? In a one MB divided in a 1 MB chunk method. So in a demo, we just demo you how it will be work. What if we upload file to the system like these image, right? What will happen? It upload successfully, right? We just throw a message, insecure upload. This is uploaded, right? This may be script file. We just throw a message. Now again check what will happen if we uploading some exe file or some executable file to the system, right? Now we uploading .exe file, right? You can check that there is an extension .exe. What will happen? It is also uploaded, right? So we make sure that there are some limit in terms of a size, in terms of a file extension, a MIME type, to upload a random file from you via user. So here in secure method, we try to upload .exe file and click on upload. It throw the error. File size is too large, not allowed, right? So it throwing error, file size. We try to upload a low size file if we have as an exe, or right, file extension is not allowed, right? So these are some basic features, basic terms that make sure before any kind of a development in a web or an app, we make sure that these are the gate entry point, or gate welcoming a gate to malwares or attackers to access your system or to damage your system by these basic features, right? So we cover the PPT points and the demo. I think I cover all the points. Yes, one point is left. That is a click point. There's a nothing in PPT. I said that when you click on some point, make sure when we click on some link, make sure that the click is working properly. Like if we click on download, there must be a single download file, right? Yeah, if this is a link that lead you to next page, it must be a new page, not as a download extension file or a XYZ file, right? Here, when we click on a download file, what will be happen? Right, a file is downloaded here, that is visible. What will be happen? Sometime it will happen when we click on that. A prompt will be open, right? A prompt will be open and a pop-up will be open that executes some code on that way. So we make sure that if this kind of happen, uh, um, just we check that everything is okay in the system or not, right? It is any attack or not, right? Uh, these are the basic example and or a demo that related to the to site PPT. that we cover in the last 1.5 hours. Now, these are 30 minutes of demo that covers these five points, right? Five demo points, right? These features basically include and these demo is included as the Bootstrap and jQuery and Ajax system. Nothing is that. Now I complete this. Now, anyone have any query or anything else? Can
So participants, we are open for the questions. Uh, if you have any questions, you may ask.
oh, I guess
Uh,
it's completed.
any question till now? Or if you don't have any question, we may move with the next session that is about to start. So, so thank you so much, sir. I
Thank
think
you.
this session has covered all the basics. It has cleared about how software can be vulnerable, what are the different entry points to those vulnerabilities, and how we can deal with those problems. So, and also the kind of attacks that you have discussed, and then some demo was performed. So that literally helped, that might be helpful for all the participants to gain the insight what each type of category belongs to, and how those can be mitigated at some abstract level at least. Okay, so so with this